Okay, sending you guys live.
कैमरास ऑन कर लो सारे.
लाइव हुआ है क्या?
कोई सृष्टि एक बार बताइए, पीछे से कुछ आवाज तो नहीं आ रही?
नहीं.
अभी नहीं आ रही?
थोड़ी सी है, ज़्यादा नहीं.
We are live.
All right. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, let's start.
Yeah, let's start.
Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to the introductory session for Saasc. This is primarily a session to help everyone know what Saasc is all about. We have some people who will help you understand various activities that are done over here. I would like to thank everyone who has joined and would request everyone to, call your friends as well. So there's a certain order in which we'll be discussing the activities today. And I hope everyone has a lot of fun. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them on the YouTube live stream as well. Other than that, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I'm Harnoor. I'm the Joint Secretary of the club. And I think now Srishti will welcome you all, who's the secretary. So yeah, over to you.
Hello everyone, I am Srishti Guglani, the secretary of the club, and we are really glad to have the batch of 2025 joining us this time. And like all of you have seen our basic introductory video in the orientation, and I hope that you all liked it as well as enjoyed it as much as we have. And moving on, we thought that introducing the club to you in such a way so that you get to know all of the activities well enough and you can relate to the club more and choose what this club is going to provide to you in the long run. So that is why we are conducting this session where we are going to talk about various different activities that we do. We do quizzing, we do MUNing, debating, we do book reading and discussions, and obviously there's a newsletter Cognition. So talking about all of these and how we learn from all of these, how we shape our personalities, how we get good internships, how we become good people. So all of this is part of what Saasc is, and we are happy to get all of you to join us. How many viewers do we have right now? Okay, we have 61 viewers. Yeah, okay. So I guess, should we start then, Harun, with our first activity then?
I think so. Yeah, we can just, start with it. We'll have good time. So,
yeah, you can call in your friends as well, and we can start with all of our activities. You got a glimpse of one of our debates as well, but there are other activities that we do also, and all of them are quite fun. So let's start with introducing you to all of them. We'll start with quizzing first. So over to you guys.
Taran, if you could present the...
Yeah, I hope the presentation is visible. All right, so hi folks, I am Shubhashish. I'm from third year CSC and I am a quizzer. That is, I do quizzing, the quizzing activity in Saasc, and that is what we're here to talk about. I'm accompanied by my mates Sarthak Chauhan, Taranjot Singh, and Ruhan. So if you could move to the next slide. Yeah, so what is quizzing? I'm sure you must have heard of quizzing, you must have done quizzing in school. You must have seen shows like KBC on the TV. But how does it evolve? How does it change when you come to college? That's what we're going to discuss today. You see, quizzing is not just about knowing answers to particular questions. It is much more than that. You have to have some knowledge, yeah, that is required, but you also have to have some inquisitiveness, some curiosity to participate or to excel as a quizzer. Now, the second aspect of quizzing would be that it is a game. Yeah, it is a game because the thrill and the adrenaline rush related to quizzing is really something. Uh, the feeling that you get when you get an answer correct or when you connect the dots to get an answer correct, that is something that you will eventually like feel or get into when you start quizzing. Next up, we also have the phase of preparation in quizzing. Everything great requires some preparation, and that is true with respect to quizzing too. And moreover, quizzing as an activity is not stagnant. The as it's universally known that change is the only constant. That is true with respect to quizzing too. We have various types of quizzes. We have various types of questions. We have various types of people that we meet while quizzing. And last but not the least, you also have the most important aspect of quizzing, I think, that you always have something interesting to talk about, something innovative to discuss with your quizzers or with your teammates. So, yeah, that is just a glimpse into quizzing. We'll be discussing everything in detail once we move forward with the slides. Taranjot, if you could move the next slide. Yeah. So William Shakespeare once said, "All the world's a quiz." Uh, I think that's not true, but we'll figure it out. All right. Now I would like to call Sarthak Chauhan to continue with this slide.
Uh, Thank you, Shobh. So, hi everyone. I welcome you all. I am Sarthak Chauhan from third year CSE. So, continuing further, Taran, if you could move to the next. So, quizzing is basically a skill. It involves various aspects. So, to start with, it involves reading. So, reading can be like it can be an article or a blog on the internet. It can be a book, a fiction, a non-fiction, or it can be an encyclopedia. Further, it involves observational skills. So, like trust me, 90% of the questions that are there, and I'm talking about the college quizzing specifically, are related to the things that are around us. So it involves observational skills up to a great extent. Then it involves listening to your teammates, first of all, and then obviously the quiz master, because there can be instances when you are not able to crack the question and the quiz master gives you a clue. So you need to be vigilant. And then it involves the skill of deduction, how well you deduce the clues, the dots that you need to join to get to the answer. And further, it also involves lateral thinking. Like if I give you a certain number of clues and I ask you to join the dots, how well you join them and arrive at the answer. And obviously, it involves the thing that is the most fun part, the thrill that you get, the eureka moment that comes when you get to the answer, or when you don't get to the answer, but when the quiz master announces the answer and you are like, "Arey yaar, mujhe to ye pata tha, but answer nahi kar paya." So that is the thrill of quizzing. So moving on to the next slide, please. So, like, how is college quizzing different from school quizzing? So, if I talk about school quizzing, the questions are very straightforward. Like, what is the capital of India? So, what college quizzing is all about is adding a flavor, making it interesting for the participants. So, the same question is asked in a manner like, name the city on the banks of River Yamuna, also known as the city of jinns, previously ruled by slaves from Turkey, which serves as the capital of a country that figures in a four-letter acronym coined by Jim O'Neill. So you can see that this question can be answered by various kinds of people. You don't need to remember a certain fact. So if a person loves reading about geography, so they can easily crack by the clue River Yamuna. And similarly, Taran, can you please move on to the next slide? So similarly, if someone is into reading books, so City of Jinns is a book by William Dalrymple. So from there also you can easily get to the answer. And if someone is into reading history, so slave dynasty was there during the Delhi Sultanate. From there also you can get the answer. And similarly, if someone is into reading current affairs and international relations, so Jim O'Neill coined the term BRIC, which further went on to become BRICS. From there you get the country India and Delhi. So from this you can understand like how fun it is. So only you don't need to like know all the facts, but if you are reading something or the other, you will get to the answer, and most of the answers are that only. So we'll be having some questions in between to make it a bit more interactive. So feel free to take guesses. There are no GST on guesses. So over to you, Taran, for the question.
Yeah, thank you, Sarthak. So I am Taranjot Singh, computer science and third year. So a question to just start the things. Yeah, the question you can answer in the chat. So this item, which was used on August 8th in a tear-eyed press conference, was later an auction website, and it was priced at 1 million. So it supposedly contains genetic material and could be in future used for cloning purposes. So who used this particular tissue or napkin? Are we getting some answers on chat?
I think this.
One of the participants
Yeah,
has
yeah, I guess.
answered.
Yeah, we're getting some correct answers. Great.
Okay, so I guess I should move to the next slide then. So this tissue was used by Lionel Messi at his press conference where he told that he's leaving Barcelona to moving to PSG. So this tissue is now priced at 1 million, was priced at 1 million and was auctioned later. Okay, so moving on.
So now we'll move on to what we do and what we have done in the past, the events and the workshops. So we have conducted different quizzes related to different genres, interests. So we had cricket quiz, we had the entertainment quiz, we had the business quiz. We also conducted Crucible Chronicles. We have regular sessions for that to prepare for the Tata Crucible Campus Quiz. It is the largest college quiz that we have. So we have another question for you.
Okay, so hello everyone, I am Ruhan from EC third year. So let's move on with the question. So with the movie Spider-Man No Way Home being so full of twists and turns, it was hard to keep everything under wraps and hidden away from fans, especially when Holland is known to accidentally spoil plot lines. So basically, what we are asking here is you need to guess what the makers, Marvel Studios and Sony's, did in order to keep the plotline a secret. So please feel free to guess in the comments. If there are any guesses in the comments, please let me know.
Not yet.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
Let us know if you don't know the answer. It's okay. We can move on. We'll tell you how to find the answer.
I think we are getting some some answers on the chat. Some answers are very close to the correct answer.
Is
Yeah,
there
we
any
can
correct
read
answer?
the answer, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So the answer to this is producers had to convince actors to return without letting them read the script. So this was a very challenging task given the lot of twists and turns in the movie. So even even though the storyline was so complex, they had to manage it all without letting the actors read the script. So that was a very interesting fact, according to me.
So, Sarthak.
So we had some other quizzes as well. We had the India quiz, which we call Bharat Verse. Then we had the quiz cushion, quiz plus discussion. Then we have the Rangmanch entertainment quiz, the Technoviz, the tech quiz. Then we had a quiz on the International Women's Day, Queen Bee. And then we also have very regular sessions on the general quiz. So we conducted a quiz workshop as well, which was basically on how to frame and work out questions. So we'll be having these workshops for you as well. So, Taran, over to you.
Okay. So the question is that a greater part of the whole world was taken aback by death of with this a certain celebrity who just tweeted once that she was turning 100. She's often referred to as one badass bitch, one of the first women to exert control in front and behind the camera, and produces a lot of sitcoms. She was also in for people and animals' rights. So one such incident was that in 1954, she was criticized for having a black tap dancer on her show, but she just said that live with it. So who was it? Personality.
She was in the news recently, so current affairs.
Yeah, we are getting the answer in the chat.
We're getting the answer. Great.
Yeah, just moving on to the answer then. It definitely was Betty White. She just tweeted that she's turning 100, and before that, she also claimed that she was on bad switch. Okay. So another question. John.
Yeah. So the next question is that Radhika Roy, NDTV's founder and currently MD, is described as the heart and soul of the company, but prefers to stay out of the limelight. A story goes that she even refused to be photographed for the company's internal records. However, her persona is reflected on a daily basis to viewers in what form? So this is something you see daily if you watch NDTV, and others might also have seen this. So please try to guess it in the comments.
Oh.
I think we'll move on to the answer.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on to the answer is the red dot in the NDTV logo. Here you can clearly see what's the similarity and why did they put this. So yeah, that's the answer. Now we will move on to the next section.
So it was basically the bindi of Radhika Roy that is there in the logo of NDTV. So they have used that in the logo to represent her presence.
Yeah, so we're just not limited to organizing quizzes in our college. We're also very keen on participating in quizzes that are organized outside our colleges, or organized by organizations like Tata. And these are some of the photos that involved us as participants and winners in some of those quizzes. And we hope that people among you people from the first year would also join in on this journey and like participate and win huge prizes in such quizzes.
So, we'll be just finishing. We'll conclude with the vision we have. It is basically targeted general awareness and process. Obviously, intra-SASC development, healthy and enthusiastic participation, and increased participation at state and national level quizzes and competitions. So, just a quick announcement. Taran, the next slide. We'll be having the Freshers Quiz, Agman 2022, for the batch of 2025. So we hope that you all will come in a large number to participate in the quiz and get a great experience, since it will be your first college quiz, and we hope you enjoy the quiz. So this was all about the quizzing, Saasc quizzing. So now we'll move on to MUN. Over to you, Siddharth and Harnoor. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Sarthak. Thanks a lot. Okay. My camera is visible now. So we have two very fine juniors, Pranav and Ishan, taking over for model UNE. So just give me 4 or 5 seconds. Let me share my screen. Go ahead, Pranav.
All right. Hi. My name is Pranav. I am in electronics and communication engineering, third year. So very simply, MUN or Model United Nations is the simulation of the actual UN. UN is an intergovernmental organization which came out of the dark times of World War II, where countries felt the need of some body to maintain international peace and security, and that is how UN came into power. We all know what UN is. We all know that different representatives of different countries represent those countries in UN. So that is what exactly happens in a MUN as well. It is a simulation of actual UN. We on our level understand that how can we bring change to bigger issues which are existing in the world that we're living in today. So the aim of the council is to find a solution to a topic given before the event, just like real UN. For example, if you're sitting in a committee, which agenda of who the agenda of that committee is, let's say, the human rights violation in Palestine. So you, as delegates or representatives of that country, will go ahead and find a solution to these human rights violations that are happening in Palestine. As students, we don't bring this change in real life, but we understand and we empathize to the different issues that are existing in the world. For example, how people are suffering in Africa, how people are suffering in the Middle East, and what all different kind of issues pertain in the world that we're living in right now. And this is the biggest change I believe MN brings to you as individuals, because it lets you, understand these bigger issues that exists in the world, right? So MUN is a bigger body. It has different sub-bodies. These sub-bodies are also known as committees, and you go ahead and participate in these committees and represent yourselves as delegates of different countries. Committees like UNHRC, UNGA, UN Security Council, a committee on women, White House room, a lot of unconventional committees are the different bodies of the UN in which you represent your countries and you represent yourselves as delegates. So these are the sub bodies of MUN, and you represent yourselves as delegates in these committees. Now to understand what we do in college and how do we deal with this concept of MUN, right? We engage in weekly discussions. We pick up certain topics, the topics that I mentioned earlier, topics like climate change, human rights violation in Palestine, things happening in South China Sea, things happening with Rohingya Muslims. These are the different topics that we pick up in these weekly discussions. We give you articles, we give you papers to read, and we have those encouraged discussions on those papers and on those articles, right? And secondly, rules of procedure workshop. So to proceed in an MUN, it's not as simple as that. There is certain kind of rules that you need to follow to proceed or to present yourself in an MUN conference. Usually in India and conferences that I've been to, most of the conferences follow the UNA USA rules of procedure. These are a set of norms that are to be followed by every delegate sitting in that committee. And we host this rules of procedure workshop every year so that you guys don't have any problem when you're actually participating in a MUN conference. And the third and a very important event that we host very regularly is intra-MUN, which encourages the people inside of PEC to participate in MUNs in general, and then look at the bigger picture, which is participating in inter-college MUNs and all. So we host this intra-MUN every year. All right. Okay. Siddharth,
Yes. I guess Ishan will take over from here. Ishan, are you there?
All right. Yes, I'm here. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, you're audible.
All right. Next slide, please. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Ishan Singh, and I'm in my third year. I'm in the computer science branch. So coming to the question, why do we even need to do MUNs? Like, why can't we just not indulge in this activity? Because there are so many other things to do in college as well, right? So basically, talking about how MUNs MUN started. So basically, MUNs first started in elite colleges like Harvard, where basically students got around, sat on a table, and basically discussed about various affairs which may not affect us directly, but do at least affect us indirectly, right? And also, we can learn about so many more things which we cannot learn through various courses which we do in the college, which are pretty theoretical in nature, especially in engineering colleges. Like in engineering colleges, you cannot learn about international relationships, laws, how to solve various conflicts, various rules and procedures of democracy, right? So these are the things which are not just important for our own development, be it in terms of getting a good placement or in general developing in life, but also like as a citizen, as a responsible citizen, it is our duty to get knowledge about these things and actually make a change in the world, as Pranav talked about. Also, like talking about how it helps in your CV. Now, whatever profile you sit for, especially for non-coding profiles. Now, this is a quality which is communicate with everyone, like being social, not like fumbling when we talk or when we basically keep our point across. These are qualities which are quite uh, which are very important when it comes to getting jobs. And also talking about exciting cash prizes. Now, we have MUNs which have cash prizes as high as a lakh rupees in total. So it is a very good thing to basically go ahead, socialize, meet new people, uh, get acquainted to new ideas, and also earn money at the same time. Now, people who actually go ahead and do many MUNs, they get the chance to sit as executive board members, and you are paid high handsome amounts for sitting as executive board members, right? So all in all, MUN is also a fun activity and is also useful for us in many ways. Next slide, please.
Yes, next slide.
Siddharth, please move to the next slide.
We are on the next slide. Ishan.
I am not able to see the next slide. Probably a net issue on my end.
We are on our achievements part right now.
I am not able to see the next slide. If possible, you can continue.
Sure, I'll take it from here. So, hi everyone, I'm Siddharth Sharma. I'm a fourth year student in electrical engineering, and I was also the Secretary General for PECMN of this year. So, thanks a lot, Ishan and Pranav, for explaining to our viewers what MUN is. Now, I'll do the honors to let everyone know what some of our achievements have been in the last couple of years. We have post COVID, we have won multiple best delegation and running trophies award. We have won 6 out of 8 major MUNs in the Tri City. These include Punjab University, MUN CGC, Chitkara Model, United Nations. We have won the overall best delegation, and we also have the running trophies for them. Well, running trophy is a term we use in Model UN when you have been winning best delegations for a lot many years. Also, in the last 4 years, Saasc, which is probably the parent organization of whatever we do as PECMN, has won more than 100 awards in immuning. There have been very good and great immuners which Saasc has produced. We have Shashank, Direk, Shreya, very, very popular faces. People who are right now viewing us from Chandigarh might have heard their names as well. So yeah, we are placed very comfortably in the top 5 or 6 highest award-winning contingents in North India as well, and also the only engineering college to do so. Well, PECMN is our annual flagship event organized under the banner of Saasc and IEEE as well. This year we saw the highest number of participation in PECMN. We had around 200 delegates. It was also the most competitive MUN in India. It always has been the most competitive MUN in India. with the total cumulative participation experience of the delegates who join us of about 7,000 emails. We also are very proud to tell you that we have got the highest diversity in terms of participation, be it any kind of diversity, racial, demographic, or anything. PECMIN is one of the most diverse event, the immuning event which happens in India. So you can probably connect with us on our Instagram page. I snipped it a bit, so you can check out our PECMIN page. We have got the team there and everyone who's related with PECMIN. And you can contact us post recruitments. For third year, we have Pranav Sukhman Nishan. For fourth year, it is me, Apurva Nadur. You can contact us for any doubts you have got. I'll wait for a single minute to see if there's any question. If you have got any question, so let me know on the chat box. Fine, I believe there's none. So thanks a lot. I hope you got a good sneak peek into what we have been doing in MUNing, and I hope you will be there with us for the next semester and with my juniors for the next 2.5 years or something. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you very much, Siddharth. So moving on from here, hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Akshat, and am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, my name is Akshat, and I'm from fourth year electrical. And just as you know that Siddharth just mentioned about MUNs and Sarthak, Shobhantar, and Rohan mentioned about quizzing. So in this section, we would be talking about what is that thing that helps them prepare for various MUNs and what is that thing which helps them to get through with quizzing. So if you can share your screen, Sakshi. Yeah. Just a second. Yeah, it's good. So basically, the name of this is Cognition. This venture is known as Cognition, and it's basically a bi-weekly newsletter. So I would be talking in brief about what do we do, what is the history of cognition, and what is the mindset with which we approach various things and various news which we cover in this. So if put in one line, then you can call it as the current affairs newsletter of the college. So what is Cognition? So Cognition was started approximately 3 years ago on 14 January 2019 as a newspaper edition, as in physical copies. So eventually we moved on to the better versions of them. And the main premise or the main objective of publishing Cognition is that it helps you focus on relevant news in a very concise, crisp, and accurate manner. We believe that the news which we hear throughout our surroundings is rigged or muddled with opinions or have a large number of biases involved in it. So our main focus is to deliver news in a very effective manner, in a way that is not biased in any way, and it helps you form your own opinions based upon the facts and the current happenings around the world in India uh, in a very informed and a targeted way. So the third point would be, yeah, as I already mentioned, it's a bi-weekly newsletter. So we publish it twice a week. Currently it's been published on Instagram because of the COVID virus, and also there is a lot of traction we generate from Instagram. And yeah, as I mentioned, we believe in delivering correct information and not at all biased at all in any way. So as you can see on your screens, the very first version in the 2019 January version was a handwritten draft, and from there we went on to circulate printed copies of the edition, printed copies of the edition, and eventually we shifted on to the PDF formats, which were circulated in WhatsApp groups or through other various social media platforms. And eventually now we have a full-fledgedly functioning Instagram page. And I would also put up the link to follow it in the YouTube live chat window. And I would also request you to check out that page on Instagram. And it's not only the news, we also focus on delivering trivia and very insightful and interesting facts in a very lucid and as well as entertaining manner. So after the evolution, and do we have the next slide? Yeah, so from here I would request Sakshi to continue the same, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Akshat. Hello, everyone. I'm Sakshi. I'm from third year electrical. And let's address the main question. There are like 20 clubs in college. Why you should be interested in joining Cognition, or why it should be the one thing that you want to join inside of Saasc as well, right? So like सबको पता होता है कि plus and plus two में we are bombarded with PCM and there's just nothing else that we can focus on. News, current affairs. At least from my personal experience, I did not read a single newspaper in 2 years. So you're so much isolated from the real world ki you don't have neither the time nor the energy to actually go up and read on ki kya chal raha hai aas-paas. So when you join something like Cognition, what you get is sorry about that. So when you join Cognition, first of all, तो वो उस चीज से बाहर निकलते हो. Then your perspective widens so much because you get to read so much, you get to research so much. As Akshay talked about, whosoever of you are interested in debating and MUNing, reading is something that is prerequisite for any kind of literary activity that you are interested in. So Cognition helps you do that because when you are preparing for an article, you read so many sources and so many diverse types of news that not only you are interested in the just 1 second, give me 1 second, please.
Yeah, probably we can continue, like Sakshi will continue forward. But what we basically want to say is that when you join Cognition, when you read these a number of articles, when you have to edit those articles, when you have to write those articles, you get a worldwide perspective of various different newses. So yeah, I guess that's what Sakshi was saying, and she'll continue now.
Yeah. So the main idea is कि अभी तुम्हें professional world में जाना है after this thing. So once you do get the gist of how to actually express your opinions and views in a much more unbiased, in a much more concise and relevant manner, so that really helps you when you move forward. So let's see what all can you be associated if as a person interested in Cognition. You can obviously be a reader. We deliver you news in a very much efficient manner. People who do not have the time to read the newspaper, or who do read the newspaper but cannot really get the grasp of it, or cannot really take relevant information to them. So this is the best idea. Instagram पे हम सब लोग social media surf करते हैं. So you're scrolling your feed and you get to know what is happening around you in a very very short span of time in very concise manner. So then if you do join us as a writer, we will just get to that later. And then we also have the technical team. When we shifted to digital platform, which is Instagram, we added a technical team with us who helps us make posters, who helps us design the platform which you see us as on Instagram, right? So we also have discussions which we'll discuss after when we'll have any kind of workshop later. So we'll do that, right? And so let's see what you will do as a writer. मतलब यार तुम एक आर्टिकल लिखने के लिए पहले तो तुम 4 legitimate sources को पढ़ रहे हो. उसके बाद फिर तुम उसको उसमें से you get to see the introduction, you get to see the significance उस चीज का, because when you're framing an article, so you have to know everything कि ये अच्छा this is relevant to this section of society, इसका impact ये होगा. So everything that you do read and everything that you frame helps us gain you so much more perspective and so much more nuance of the same thing that you are reading about. But the best part about this is कि मतलब अभी ये सब बहुत intimidating लग रहा होगा, because हमें भी लगा था starting में, but there is like no prerequisites whatsoever that you need before joining us, before joining like any kind of writing experience या कुछ भी और, because all we need is interest as a reader when in like you want to expand your narrative and you want to read new things about you and refine your writing skills. So that's all that will do. बाकी सब आपस में मिलके will teach you. उसके बाद then obviously the technical team. Again, Photoshop skills कुछ नहीं चाहिए. We don't need you installing Adobe on your devices. Normal Canva पे काम होता है, बहुत आराम से बहुत प्यार से काम हो जाता है. So even if you are interested in something like this, developing skills like that, so this might be a good start for you. So that's all from our side. Follow us, like everyone of you who's watching this session, please follow us, and then we'll be coming out with forms pretty soon. Do we have any questions in the chat box?
Yeah, I guess they have been addressed there itself.
All right, cool. Thank you.
So great. I'll take it from now on. Hi, everyone. First of all, congrats on making it to PEC, and I welcome you here to this interaction. Just give me a minute to present my screen, and then we can continue it from here.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about our book reading and book discussions part that we do in Saasc. And we'll talk about how, first of all, I would also like to address the question that we are getting about diversity. Okay, we are a diverse group. It doesn't matter that some of us are some of us are from Circuital. We also have non-Circuital folks with us. Please, our joint secretary is from production. Please don't do that to us. We are a very diverse group of people, and not just diverse in terms of branches, but also in diverse in terms of our cultures, the way we think, the way we present our ideas, and any and everything that matters. So it's a good set of people that we have here, and it's like we all discuss all of our ideas. So it's always good to have a group of people who have various different things to talk about, and then you are discussing those things and coming into a very constructive solution to topics. All right, so let's move on to the book reading part of Saasc. Piyush, you may start.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Piyush Gulati. I'm currently in third year. So I'll start with. So, first of all, I think the name is pretty clear in itself. This is a part of Saasc that is mainly focused on book reading and discussions. So, I think we do a lot of things. We select the books, we host book discussions, and then we try to derive conclusions out of it. But I'll come to all of that later. First of all, I'll explain to you what is the motive or what is the motive behind this particular section. So I think that the motive it derives mainly from the importance of reading books. And now I'm not going to quote any cliche benefits of reading books like कि focus improve होता है, vocabulary अच्छी होती है. I'm going to talk about real, genuine life impacts that it has on a person in college. So as we all know that we all have our own lived experiences. We all come from different backgrounds. सबके घर पे situations and scenarios different होते हैं. Some people have siblings, some don't. Some live in joint families, some don't. So we all have our own lived experiences, and as a result, we all have a different perspective on certain things. So when we sit in a book discussion, we feel that what we think is the right opinion. It can be on anything. It can be as simple as who is a better singer or who governs or who is good in politics. So everyone has their own different opinions, and as a result, when we sit in a book discussion and we listen to other people, we get a broader sense of perspectives. We see that there can be different perspectives on a certain thing, and that becomes a very important thing to realize. When we basically sit in a discussion and see that a lot of different people have different views, it tries to burst a bubble. Now, Sakshi in her previous presentation very aptly said that you all are fresh out of JE. So, and me too, from my personal experience, I was so into physics, chemistry, and maths कि उस time पे एक बहुत बड़ा bubble बन जाता है, and you are not really focused on anything else. You get cut off from things that you love, things that you pursue, and as a result, you all are very blank right now. So, what happens in reading is that you get to learn a lot. You get to learn a lot of new stuff, and that really helps you. So basically, reading shapes your opinion, and there are visible changes. Like एक visible change मेरे में आया, other people on this call, be it Srishti, Sakshi, Harnoor, people who are presented before you. I've seen these people, and there is a visible change that comes after book reading. Also, it is a good supplement for a lot of other activities that Saasc offers. Like you've seen that if you are interested in debating, MUNing, or if you're interested to pursue cognition, so for all these activities, you need a knowledge base, and reading really helps you in that. So you basically learn a lot more about everything, and you try to make more informed opinions, and it really shapes you as a person. So I would like to address some FAQs at this point, क्योंकि ये same questions मेरे दिमाग में भी आया था जब मैं अपने first year में था. First of all, अगर मैं अभी JE से आया हूँ, और there is a high possibility that I did not used to read at all before. I'm not a reader, or even if I was, I have left reading a long time ago. So where do I start? We especially say that people who haven't read anything at all, who don't have a habit of reading, they should definitely join the particular book reading section of Saasc. That is because you can easily try to start reading, you can start exploring or you can even sit in discussions. When you sit in discussions and hear your peers, hear your juniors or seniors, then you get an understanding and you are interested. You explore certain themes and you're interested to pursue them further. So it is definitely a good practice. So inherently, it is all about boosting your confidence and broadening your perspectives. So I'll continue. Next is how does this particular section work? So first of all, we select a particular book. We read a lot of different genres. I'll give you a glimpse of the books that we've read till now. So we've read *Sapiens* and *Silent Spring* that are mainly books centered on non-fiction. Then come Virginia Woolf's *A Room of One's Own* and *Emotional Intelligence*. So we cover a lot of different genres. It can be non-fiction, self-help books, science fiction, political essays, domestic fiction. So carrying on, there's The Hate You Give, The Color Purple, Justice, What's the Right Thing to Do, Coming of Gender Stories, Sissy, Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. I'm sure many people know that this is a very popular series also. So it has been derived from a book. Then there's 1984 by George Orwell, Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Poor Economics, Seeing Like a Feminist, A People's Constitution, and many more. So, considering what we do, so first of all, we select a book, and now the book selection can be based on any current problem in the society or any underlying themes in the society. So, to give you an example, when the Black Lives Movement was at its peak, we decided that we'll come up with a book known as The Hate You Give. And the themes that it discussed was mainly discrimination, themes of discrimination, themes of police brutality, and basically the political nuances of caste. So all this becomes very important to study. And when you read that book, and moreover, when you attend discussions, you are prompted to hear the other person's opinion, and that can really help you broaden your perspective and make informed decisions later on in life. So that really helps. And so first of all, we select a book, then we host book discussions. Now the book discussions are very convenient and flexible. सब कुछ जो है आपके टाइम के मुताबिक होगा. For example, if you're busy, if you have an assignment or you can't contribute time, then the discussion can be shifted. And the discussions are usually chapter-wise. And if the novel is not inherently divided into chapters, then it can be page-wise also. But everything is very convenient, flexible, and according to your needs, which really makes it a fun activity to join. And so I've covered the main glimpses. And next we have is a short section to show you how discussions take place. That is through the trolley problem.
Yeah. So, first of all, I like to enunciate how our discussions basically happen. See, whatever we read various different books from various different genres, whether it be fiction or non-fiction. And if you are a beginner, you can always start with fiction. There's no problem with that. Once you develop a reading habit, then we move on to higher level books so that you can get a better understanding of things around the globe. So what are the different themes that are covered in a book, and how do we discuss them? Basically, these discussions help you get you a clarity of all the different concepts, all the different themes talked in the book, and get a wider view of the things that are happening around you. So As Cognition helps you with getting a current update, getting a knowledge of current updates in the world, the news updates, etc. Reading books helps you get an understanding of the various different things that have happened around the globe and are still happening here. And discussing them is going to broaden your viewpoint and your horizon into understanding all of these concepts. So whether you are using them in MUNing or debating, that is going to help you a lot. And even if you have other different goals, other different perspectives, for example, UPSC, etc. So in that sense also, it is going to help you a lot. One discussion that we want to have with you all, and we have some people here also who are going to contribute it so that you get an idea as to how these discussions happen. We're going to start with the trolley problem. This is going to be very interesting, so I want you all to type in the chat what all your views are about this thing. All right. So for example, you are an onlooker to this, and there's a trolley that is going. There are two paths. On one path, there are five people. Who can die if the trolley goes on the same path. The brakes of the trolley are failed. Just a clarification. If it goes on one path, it is going to kill 5 workers, and if it goes on the other path, it is going to kill 1 innocent bystander. As an onlooker, what are you going to do? You can either pull a lever and divert the trolley towards that one person, killing that one innocent bystander, or you can kill those 5 workers who are working on that railroad. What is it that you're going to do? Killing 5 people, or you're going to kill one person? Let's hear it from all of you. Okay, Sukhman, you can provide some of your inputs.
Okay, if I were the bystander, I think it would have been a very difficult choice for me. But personally, I would not have liked to play God. So I'll just let the trolley go wherever, whatever direction it is taking, and I would not like to decide which the fate of the bystander or which bystander, which person who is on the trail dies, right? So I'll just let it be and let it go so that I don't feel responsible for killing some people.
Okay, what
And
do you
like,
do, Piyush?
okay, so the trolley problem is a very interesting piece of ethical analysis. It is an ethical dilemma truly. So like, before I give my opinion, I'd like to tell the audience about a certain concept. So that is utilitarianism. Now the word seems big, but it is basically means is that utilitarianism is a phenomenon in which we go for the most favorable outcome, in which we maximize the utility or a well-being. So if we follow utilitarianism, then I would flip the switch so that the trolley goes over to kill one person because I'll be saving 5 lives in that process. Now the audience might think that this is a very dire choice, or how do I know such words? It's only because I've read a book called Justice, in which all of these concepts have been discussed in detail so that I can understand what really essentially it means. And it is a term that has been coined by Jeremy Bentham. But again, there is a proper counter here to my point. So, like, if we are saying that,
so let's see that what the other scenario to this can be. Like, on one case, you're saying that we can kill one person, and Sukhman said that we'll let fate only decide and kill 5 people. But in another scenario where you are on top of a bridge and you can throw one, sorry for like if it seems body shaming, but if you can throw one fat person down down that bridge, and that can stop the trolley, would you do that to save those 5 people? If you are willing to divert the track to kill that one person in order to save those 5 people, would you go ahead and throw that person off the bridge to then save those 5 people?
Yeah, exactly. For in my case, I won't throw the person. So this is how actually I've evolved my thinking after going through all these situations. I've decided, okay, let the train go where it is going, let the trolley go where it is going. Because I cannot do that. I cannot throw a person, even if I'm pulling a lever or I'm just doing the act myself and doing it directly. It means the same, killing the person. So
we might have these different concepts of utilitarianism where we are estimating the value of each individual, but there are other different scenarios where it might seem like that when you are actively making this choice, you are becoming directly involved in this murder scenario. We have a similar problem to this trolley problem, that is the doctor-patient problem. Now, in this problem, you are a doctor and you are treating 5 sick people who each of them are in need of a different organ for transplant, and then comes in one healthy patient who has just come in for a normal checkup. Would you go ahead and pull out all the working organs of that one healthy person to go and save those 5 different people? It's a similar version of the previous problem, but yeah, twisted in a different sense for us to know how you are going to react in a different scenario. Okay. Okay, we are getting quite mythological answers to all of these questions as well.
It's always the utility versus deontology clash, and it is very hard to figure it out.
So yeah, it's like sometimes you don't have a right answer or a wrong answer. It all depends on your morality. What is your concept of justice? the values that you abide by, and are those values actually moral or immoral in the world or not? So like this is how our discussions happen. This is how interesting our discussions become. And right now it's like just like some people of us who are interacting and contributing our viewpoints, and those also that you see, they're also different, and that is how you evolve your thinking process. This is how these discussions help us a lot, and so we just encourage you all to join us for discussions. Yeah.
Yeah. And as Srishti said, I think it is well summed up. We've told you how the book reading discussion club of Saasc functions, and I really hope to see you all in the future reading cycles. And just to reiterate, it is open for everyone, even if you think that you don't enjoy reading per se, or if you left reading a long time ago, we still encourage you to join, attend a few discussions, and then make up an opinion of yourself.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I hope to see you everyone there.
Yeah, and like we were getting a few questions. Just to to clarify that, never base your opinions on to what the writer only tells you. That is why we have these discussions, because sometimes we agree with the writer, sometimes we don't agree with the writer, and that is why these discussions are important. So if you just go ahead and read Rich Dad Poor Dad, please don't. Please don't. I saw some comments where you are trying to praise that book. Please don't. Discuss that book. You'll get to know a different perspective. And that is why these discussions are important. That is how you form a perspective about it.
And it is very important to read a wide array of books, not just one book. Read a lot of books, then you get to form an opinion, a good opinion, a well-informed opinion, and discussions help you, improvise it and to, get better at thinking about it and explaining it and understanding it. So yeah, that is
And
how
you will
about it.
And you will certainly be surprised after attending the discussion that is particular. For example, this particular question का ये भी solution हो सकता था. So you'll certainly be surprised.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the debating part.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Right. Just a second. Is my screen visible?
Also, let us know in the comments, how did you like our orientation debates?
Right. Sukhman, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, we'll be introducing competitive debating now. I am Sukhman. I am in third year EC. We also have Jasleen and Kavya with us for the introduction.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kavya. I'm from third year CSE. Is Jasleen there?
Yeah. Right. So, I think we can start. So, first of all, I think debating has been accessible to all of you in some form or another. I think all of us have debated, in form of, some of you might have been to MUNs, others to parliamentary debates, or you probably would have attended some sort of conventional debates. And I'm sure that you would have had those, debate speech writing in your English wala exams. So I think through that, to some extent what debating is. But school debating and university debating are very, very different. And university debating is fun. It's extremely fun, and you'll have to do it to know it. And we'll soon be having intrapec PDs for that as well. So first of all, what debating is a regulated discussion of a proposition between two sides before a deliberative body, according to Merriam-Webster, right? So a regulated discussion, we need to have some sort of discipline while debating. We don't want random people shouting at each other that ye sahi hai, ye galat hai, which is usually what happens if if there's a topic of discussion, or if there's an argument, people will just keep shouting. We don't want that. We want a productive discussion in which we can get a productive solution, right? So we have a proposition, that is a topic or a motion on which two sides, that is a proposition or the side that supports the motion or the topic, and an opposition which speaks against the motion before a deliberative body, that is a panel of judges, or as we call them in university debating, adjudicators, right? So you'll be hearing more of these terms as we move forward, right? So this is the sort of hardcore wali dictionary definition, but in very layman language, debating is the process of finding the best solution to a problem. That is to say, if the topic is to ban smoking, why would you want to ban smoking? First of all, you'll have to find out the problem to which you're finding the solution, and then you'll discuss, is it the best solution, or can you find out other solutions? First of all, around it, and it is an extremely fun process. And yeah, so you need a specific toolkit for debating, a certain skill set, which is where the major difference between school debating and university debating comes about, right? In school debating, the emotions are more sort of subjective, fact based, and your arguments are also mostly based on facts, right? But in university debating, you need not necessarily know each and every detail or each and every fact about the motion. You can simply do with having the skill of logic. The main tool that you need in your toolkit in university debating is logic. You need to have fundamentally strong arguments, and that is how you make your case, and that is how you win a debate in universities, right? So whosoever has a better logic is able to form better arguments, is able to draw better logical links, and that particular person or that particular team wins the debate, right? Next slide. So in debating, I think all of you have had access to conventional debating, but there are a lot of other formats of debating as well, right? We need formats because we need a flow to these speeches. We need to be able to comprehend and understand better, so that there is a certain direction in which the debate goes, and so that we have a productive discussion at the end of it, and we can get a judgment, or a proper feedback after that, right? So that is what we'll discuss now. In our college, we primarily follow Asian parliamentary debating standards and British parliamentary debating standards. As you can see, these are the various styles or formats of debating. First of all, conventional debates: one motion, one person speaks for the motion, the other person speaks against the motion. Then we have Oxford style debates. In this, there's more involvement from the audience, because they're able to ask questions from the speakers, which is otherwise not the case in any other format. This is particularly exclusive to this style of debating. Next, we have MUNs, and I think Siddharth, Pranav, and Ishan did a wonderful job explaining that. And finally, we have parliamentary debating, which we are discussing here. And I think you did get to see an Asian parliamentary debate in your orientation, right? So that is how it works, and I'll explain once again how the flow is and how the speakers go about and speak in there. And we'll also have workshops further explaining that. And we also have British parliamentary format, right? So this is the Asian parliamentary format. In Asian parliamentary, we have 3 speakers on both sides. We have one opposition team and one proposition team. The proposition is the government and speaks for the motion, that is, supports the motion. The opposition speaks against the motion, right? So to give a proper structure or flow to the debate, we have the first speaker or the prime minister. These names do not have much of a significance. They are just conventional. They have been given, and we follow this. And so the first speaker will come and set the debate. Will set up the context, what it means, where the debate is set, and what arguments that side will be discussing. Right? If you're the government, what will be the main arguments that you'll be discussing throughout the debate. And in the opposition, the first speaker will come and set the debate for the opposition and will rebut the proposition, and this goes on throughout the debate. The second speaker will come and rebut the opposition side and carry forward the case, and similarly the second speaker for the opposition will do the same, and so on and so forth. We'll be discussing in detail all these nuances, and we really don't want you to get spooked out by looking at this very complex sort of structure over here, and we'll be explaining this in detail, and when you practice you will get to know better. And I think we can move on to the next slide. This is the Asian parliamentary format, and this is the British parliamentary format. In this, we have 4 teams instead of the 2 teams that we had in Asian parliamentary format. In British parliamentary, we have 4 teams. 2 teams are for the government, 2 teams are for the opposition, and we have this exact sort of a flow that we'll be explaining you soon enough. So you can just know this for now, that we have 4 teams, and they're divided into government and opposition, right? So that is all from my end, and I think now Jasleen will explain us what it means to debate, why do we need to debate, and our experiences with debating. So over to you, Jasleen.
Is Jasleen there? I think we will get to Jaslene's part after a short.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll do that first. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get to a sample first, and then Jasleen will come back to that slide. So we'll be discussing a basic clip of a final debate tournament, and it's pretty popular. A very general topic, so that you don't get a little intimidated by this. So. The topic here is this house regrets advertising, and since it's a regret motion, basically we have a lot of type of topics, and these topics can range to from politics to economics to something very general like advertising. And since we are regretting the given topic, it will basically both teams have to highlight if the certain situation or certain thing, in this case advertising, is worth supporting or is it regrettable or not. So before we begin,
sell online and grow your business with Wix e-commerce. Create a equal.
Yeah, so before we begin, I'll just explain what's going on here. So to your right would be the opposition, and to your left would be the proposition. And we already know the topic here. And the speaker who's speaking is the government whip that Sukhman just introduced initially. And here they are basically concluding what all their team, their side of the government, has already said. So that is what the whip does, and we'll explain all of it to you in further workshops. But just see how this happens and how they talk about the entire case, what all they've said so far, and how they are presenting their arguments here. So it's just a 5-minute clip.
Level, and therefore have a level playing field in this competition they want to create. Now let's get to the clashes, right? When you have a regret motion, it means that the harms caused by a particular object must outweigh the benefits. That's what this house has to show you to win, right? Let's get to the harms we talked to you about. Our first harm was it induces unhappiness, right? Because advertisements operate on inducing irrational responses by using things like colors, taglines, and sexualizing their product. It uses these to take away your money from you by forcing you to make decisions to buy products you may not need. At the same time, it fuels this irrationality by emphasizing the greed in your desire, right? Then, in order to ensure that they continue to make money in perpetuity, it ensures that these irrational desires that they have created never get fulfilled. And a simple example where you see this is Apple, right? They make a laptop, and every year they make sure that they create these small changes that make you want that new product, because our life is revolving around that commercialized product. They said, the LO says, humans can't process information, therefore they will understand these irrational messages better. They said ultimately people make decisions on interactions and talking to people, and by using the product, right? In fact, we asked him a POI, can external stimuli affect decisions? He said no. Well, at one level that makes advertisements pointless, so if we can show you any harms, that clearly gives us the case. But secondly, that's also simply untrue, right? Countries invest in propaganda because people get influenced. People have an irrational side to them. They are not always rational thinkers, always calculating, right? There are so many times when I see something that influences me and creates a desire in me to buy, and that is what advertisements take advantage of. We completed this point by telling you that advertisements induce a long-term commercialization of life, which makes life less satisfying, because life is about the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is not equal to the goods you own or consume. It has several other aspects, like Patel told you: contact with family, friends, peaceful reflection. But because companies have lots of money, they can bombard you with so much information that it skews your understanding of happiness. You always need X product, therefore you need X money to be happy, so you can buy these products. You will always work overtime, undermine other important things like family, so you can keep buying these products and never attain true happiness. They said, don't define my happiness. I can be happy by drinking Coke. The problem with that is you are a subject in a world already bombarded with advertisements. Of course, you can't step out of it and observe its effects objectively on you by the process we're talking about, right? That would require you to question the very basis of your life. And that's the problem. Your life at this point revolves around this false sense of gratification you feel by getting these getting these products and these advertisements without recognizing the long-term harms it creates on the happiness you can achieve in the long run. I'll take you.
You ignore the characterization of how advertising has evolved to have more platforms than ever, giving more brands brands more access. That's why something like OnePlus One can say, we are the performance-driven phone, the counterculture to your materialistic iPhone. Under your paradigm, they don't get to do this. They never come into the market.
Sit. Right, but that's the point, right? 1+1 is just another entity which can or is striving for equal marketing power. We tell you there are several others, right? When there is a McDonald's and there is a Grandma's Burger Company in a small town, that Grandma's Burger Company may make healthier products which you would find tastier if you liked and you would want to buy consistently. But because McDonald's occupies the advertising space, you will never be aware of that product. You will never go there and buy it. So advertisements actually block out information of important products you may want by bombarding you with space in all the spaces you can find with products that may not be equally good in quality or equally desirable to you, right? The second harm we talk to you about is degradation of our environment, right? The natural environment, by creating these false needs and creating unsatisfiable desire in a world of limited resources, you necessarily need to destroy those resources to fulfill this desire, which has horrible consequences on our environment, which Patel talked to you about with the specific example of USA. But now let's talk about the benefits that they try to give, right? Needs are inherent of human beings, and advertisements fulfill that by giving information. Two responses, right? They very often create false needs, and so they're not really helping, right? And we gave you the example of Coke, which has orange Coke, blue Coke, and which taste the same. And we gave you a second example of fairness creams, which are not objectively needed. But second, the information they give you is also skewed because it's based on emotion and because it's unequal information, right? Therefore, we tell you that because of the harms we have shown to you and the absence of clear benefits which can exist and the alternate paradigm we gave you of reviews and catalogs, we clearly take this and we should regret the harms arising out of the advertisement industry. Thank you.
You mute, Kavya.
Kavya, I think you're still on mute.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So what you saw right there is an hour-long debate and just a clip of an hour-long debate there. And that was the proposition whip. So I would I would encourage you all to watch this afterwards and just spend your time, take some time out and identify what's going on there. And we'll definitely have another workshop and we'll bring this up again. So a basic breakdown of what all happened there was that so in the beginning since we started from the middle, so in the beginning the proposition basically identifies the stakeholders and the setting. So since this was a very general topic, they are regretting advertising, so they basically chose to focus on the general society and the present scenario and the present times, and then that extended to the definition of advertising and how how advertising has fared in the current times. What are the basic objectives that people who advertise things want to see within their want to achieve within their consumers and within their goals, and how the evolution of marketing has happened. And they usually throughout their debate, the proposition usually stresses on how there's a monopoly by bigger brands and how they've actually extended to environmental after effects of the entire scenario. And then they've also touched on how the consumers think and how people are too irrational and advertising can blatantly switch the scenario and convince people to opt for products that they don't really want. While the opposition, so the aim of the opposition is to identify the loopholes within the proposition or the government's arguments and give supporting ideas and give alternative ideas on their side. So they basically, and in this scenario, they will further, so since you've only watched one side, I would encourage you to watch the rest of the debate and the previous part of the debate and just see how they would basically highlight how the evolution of ads has happened, but it's entirely beneficial towards both the consumers and the marketers, and how this has, and the evolution of technology and even social media has added some regulation and has actually dissolved monopoly as such. So you will also get to see that. And basically they focus on counterculture and how flashy advertising is basically not existent in these times specifically. So that's how in this scenario the opposition did win the debate. And we'll definitely discuss this in a later workshop. And I think one few more things I just wanted to add before I'll give it over to Jasleen. So basically, I would encourage you all to firstly watch this, and then secondly, I think one misconception that most people have about debating is that you need to speak well to get into debating, when in fact it's more about what you speak. Your matters a lot than whatever you speak matters a lot than how you speak. So you can stutter, you can fumble, you can make mistakes, but as long as your argument makes sense, as long as you're sticking to the topic, as long as your teamwork, your flow of debate, what all you present out there in a competitive manner makes sense, you are bound to win the debate. It does not matter how you speak. It does not matter if you're struggling with your language, if you still have to work on your vocabulary, that does not matter. And I think this would definitely, as engineers, this would definitely give us another edge into exploring a new domain altogether. We would get to know a lot more people from different domains, because debating is not limited to just engineering colleges. It's extends to basically a lot more colleges from a lot more places. So you get to know a lot more people in this way, and it's always enriching. So I'll just go back to Jasleen's slide now.
Hi guys, I'm Jasleen. I am in fourth year pursuing computer science. In the presentation, I think Sukhman already gave you like what debating is. She told you about the format that exists, and Kavya went through a sample debate for you guys. So like after all this, right, like you do question like why debating, right? I mean, what is there for you? So I think I've listed down some of the pointers. I'm going to share my own experiences with you and tell you how debating helped me in general in life, in college, and to become a better person. I think the first and the foremost thing that debating has to give you is your decision making ability improves by tons. I mean, I think when you debate, you can reason out better, right? You have information, you have arguments, right? But then to apply your own mind to it, to apply reasoning to it, and not just random reasoning, but systematic reasoning to it, that is very important. And I think that analysis, that reasoning is very important when you make any decision. You, and like as Sukhman told you that, you know, like what is the most important toolkit when it comes to debating, it is logic, right? You will realize that when you once you start debating, with time logic is going to come to you like instantly, right? It is not something that you would have to force. After so many debates, after so many arguments, you do have a sense of, you know, what is right and what is wrong. And to win the debate, all you have to just do is put that logic in put the logic in a systematic way, in a convincing way, so that the adjudicator can understand what you're trying to say, and what are you saying like becomes more convincible. So I think more or less decision making is important for you to, you know, like and not just like professionally but personally as well. When you're dealing with problems and conflicts on a professional level or on a personal level, you have certain goals and objectives that you want to achieve, and you know you want to make good decisions for those goals and objectives, and obviously to grow as a person, right? So I mean, I know that like during the first few months, like even now, you do tend to make a lot of decisions that you do regret in the future, right? And you will realize that as you debate, your decision making ability improves at every level. So that is what debating has to give you. The second is it helps in opening mind. Now we all come with preconceived notions when we step out of school, right? We have certain perspectives about certain topics, and sometimes we make very less effort to, you know, change those perspectives or open ourselves to new perspectives. So we just tend to stay complacent with what we know, and you know what we have, and like the skill set that we have. And I think that is like the biggest obstacle to growth, right? So I think with debating, when you're listening to the other side, when you're listening to your teammates as well, when you're, even when you're in the proposition side, like when you're for the motion, or let's say against the motion, you will get to know about so many perspectives from your own teammates as well. You will get to know like different perspectives from the opposite team, obviously, but then you will also get to know about a lot of perspectives, like from your team as well. And you'll also realize sometimes what you're saying is right, but the reasoning behind what you were saying is not that right. So you tend to identify principles in your motions. You tend to identify, what is right and what is wrong, and you're able to like reason with that. I don't know if like some of you have like heard that poem about Rabindranath Tagore, in which he says that, if you're not growing, you're basically dead. And debating helps you that. It helps you open your mind and it helps you to grow. And then thirdly, it's privilege, acknowledging privilege. Now, you must have noticed that, in general, when you talk about privilege, people tend to get a little defensive, and sometimes they get offended too when, when you address someone's privilege, when you like acknowledge someone's privilege. And this is basically because when you do that, it makes people feel that, like they're better off than others. And when like someone holds someone at like let's say at a higher position, like that person who's at a higher position, or let's say who's better off, tends to get like less empathy than the ones who are around them, right? So this is the reason why people tend to get defensive when you talk about privilege. Well, debating helps you acknowledge privilege in a healthy way. When you debate, you realize that having privilege does not mean that you're immune to all sufferings or all to hardships, but it means that you have a certain advantage over certain sections or over certain people in some areas. That is why privilege is something which is not, let's say, absolute. It is very intersectional. I may be privileged in some way that the other person might not be, right? So like if you want to ever bridge the gap between like the gap that exists, or you want to like strive for more equality or an imbalance, then you have to talk about privilege in a more healthier way, right? And that can only happen once you start acknowledging your privilege, and um like start working towards it. So again, like the next thing is public speaking, right? So you will realize that once you debate, not knowing the right thing is not the only thing which is important. You also need to know how to put it forward, how to like communicate it to the adjudicator, or how to just communicate your thoughts well to the other person. This becomes precisely very important when you're sitting in interviews, and especially in the non-core interviews. The interviewer is going to ask you trick questions. He's going to ask you questions about that will be targeted at your personality, and you want to communicate to the interviewee in a fluent way, and you want to make your ideas more clear to him. It's not just about stammering or anything. He wants to know that how clear you are in your thoughts and how clearly you can communicate. Debating is one thing which is going to help you, and it's not going to, and you have to be very very patient. It's not going to come with like, let's say, first 3 debates, first 4 debates. It's going to take you a long time. So make sure you're patient with debating, and you let debating benefit you. Lastly, it's personality traits, right? You will realize that when you're speaking in front of an adjudicator, and when you're speaking, let's say, in front of people, and when you're like ready to be judged for what you're speaking, you will realize how confident that you grow when you're putting forward those ideas, when you're listening to the other person patiently, and you're rebutting those ideas. How confident do you grow? There are times that you will be embarrassed during your debates because of some argument that you give, or probably let's say if the opposition, or let's say the other person, is insensitive enough to target you in a way that like is not very sensitive. With that, you're just going to come out stronger, because you will learn to deal with that kind of pressure, and that kind of situations. So overall, debating helps you makes you a more um, a better human, and like the decisions that you make are going to be more informed, because they're going to be backed up with reasoning, and not the notions that you were carrying before, let's say, from school. So I would say that it makes you want to read more, because you can't debate if you're not reading, if you don't know what's happening. So once you get into the debating circuit, once you start debating, you will consciously want to read more, because you would want to improve once you start. Okay, and your thinking ability will be sharpened. You will not it will change, like the way you used to think, and for the better. And it's going to be a wholesome experience, because you will be debating with all kinds of people, like having different opinions, having different beliefs, having different notions. And sometimes listening to the other person, you would be convinced enough to change your own notions as well. And like sometimes reasoning out with the other person, and sometimes even the other person realizes that like what I am saying is not actually right, and like this person is actually making sense. So overall, in my personal experience, debating has helped me like gain a lot, and it has made me a very, very confident human being that I am right now. So hopefully in like the debate practices and like everything that we have, hopefully we'll see you all. And like Kavya, Sukhman, do you have anything to add here?
I
I think you
think
summed it up.
yeah, you summed it up.
So it is pretty much that.
Yeah. Thank you, Ghislaine. Thank you, Sukhman and Kavya. So I hope every one of you enjoyed the session today and you've got a pretty good idea as to what all activities we do and how much you can gain from all of these activities, whether it be quizzing, MUNing, being part of our cognition family, book reading, or debating, how you can grow as a person, what like different kinds of variety of themes that you can understand, get to know the various different topics that you can know about, you can grow as a person and whatnot. All of these are important as to make you a better human being. And we all hope that you enjoyed the session today. I'll be releasing the recruitment forms in the chat window and hope to see you all for our recruitment interviews and hope you all enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments as to how the session was for all of you.
Yeah, I think we're done for the day. We can end the stream.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do we need to address any of the questions, or how should we go with this?
Okay, I guess. Yeah, I've posted the recruitment forms in the chat box. So share it with your friends, and we hope to see you all in the recruitment interviews. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.